Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Can't wait to get into today's show by popular request. We're going to go over a show just dedicated to how to eliminate hormonal bloating through all natural means. So as we're getting started, we always want to know what's the root cause? Why is this happening? What's making it worse? What can we do to alleviate the symptoms and rebalance those underlying root causes? That is what integrative health is all about, using the best means possible, but always looking for the underlying root cause. So when it comes to hormonal bloating, last week I went over exactly how it occurs and the 7 main causes. So check that out. That was episode 3098. Why don't we do this? We'll link everything up today at stephencabral.com/3112. stephencabral.com, I apologize, it's 3105. stephencabral.com/3105. We will link up everything in the show notes here today, everything, all the resources that you need. And what we'll do is we'll link up last week's show as well. All right, first things first, let's understand why we get hormonal bloating in the first place. And when I say hormonal bloating, I'm mainly referring to women during their menstrual cycle. It's not the only time, but really women during their menstrual cycle when there's an imbalance of estrogen and or progesterone. So let's talk about this. So let's call day 0 is the first day of menstruation for a woman. You can call it day 1. Typically in our practice, refer to it as day 0 on just an average woman's cycle of 28 days. We're looking at 14 days, the first half of the cycle, the follicular phase, the second half of the cycle, the luteal phase. First half of the cycle is more predictive of an increase in estrogen. Second half, more of an increase in progesterone. The cycle works in 2 different ways, right? During the middle of that is called ovulation. And we get a rise in luteinizing hormone and follicular stimulating hormone, followed typically by an actual increase in testosterone, which improves libido, energy, many other things. All right, so let's go through this now. As the cycle begins to move about halfway through, estrogen levels have climbed. This can often cause water retention. And the reason is sodium can be retained. When there's more salt in the body, tissues, blood, etc., what happens is water follows. So water is retained when there's additional sodium. Keep that in mind because we're going to be working on sodium as part of our natural health-based plan. Part of it is not taking in an excess of it, but also I'm going to give you the mineral that balances sodium as well. All right, so let's talk about that. Now, all of that does happen, can be mitigated, all right? We just need to make sure there's normal levels of estrogen production. That's the first part. The second part is that as estrogen begins to climb, it can actually increase bloating, slow bowel motility, and towards the end of the cycle, as I shared last week, there can be cramping. And that cramping can often be a shedding of that uterine wall lining or the preceding of that. So now what we have is sometimes bloating based on that. So what do we need to do? We need to make sure first and foremost, those hormones, namely estrogen and progesterone, are balanced. Now, that doesn't mean they stay even the whole cycle. That's not how a woman's menstrual cycle is meant to be. That is how it's supposed to be post-menopause. Now, there'll be certain fluctuations. There's no doubt about that. But post-menopause, we're looking for a very predictable range of about, I'm just going to call them units, 1 unit of estrogen to about 35, 40 units of progesterone. And you can see that on a simple saliva-based test or even a blood-based test, all right? So that's the ratio we're looking for. It's called the stress, mood, and metabolism test. I urge you, if you're ever having hormonal-based imbalances or infertility or low mood, low energy, poor digestion, cramping, just poor sleep, most women are having that during their luteal phase. Run that lab on days 19, 20, or 21 of your cycle. That's what I recommend, or days of most symptoms, okay? Stress, mood, and metabolism test. I will link everything up. I can link up the labs at stephencabral.com/3105. But if I'm not able to link something up, it's always over in our functional medicine practice. Integrative health practice is a better name for it. That's at stephencabral.com/shop. Takes you just right over there. Just shop is easy to spell. Equalife is not easy to spell, but you can go over to equa.life as well. All right, so let's get into it. What do we do in terms of diet, nutrition, lifestyle changes and exercise, nutritional supplements, and other factors to improve hormonal bloating? Because after all, while you're rebalancing hormones, you don't want to be dealing with bloating. All right, first and foremost, is we don't want to necessarily be on a low salt diet, but we need to be careful with sodium intake, especially when we know there is high levels of estrogen, right? We want to be cognizant of that. So taking in about 2,000 milligrams or so of sodium per day, not typically a big deal. But since electrolytes are all the rage right now, taking in another 2,000 milligrams is probably not a great idea unless you sweat excessively. That's a different story. Now, what could you take in more of? Potassium. Potassium helps balance sodium. Now, I recommend most of your potassium be food-based. So you really want to get in more greens or high potassium-based foods. I have podcasts on high potassium foods. I'll try to link it up for you today at 3105. And of course, you can Google high potassium foods as well. So we want to increase those high potassium foods. Don't overdo your salts, all right? Don't overdo that sodium. It can make you retain more water. Now, take in more sodium if you take in more potassium. The two balance each other out. The next thing is take in enough fiber. Too many people neglecting fiber because of gas and bloating-based issues. Fix the gas and bloating-based issues. Very likely could be candida overgrowth or bacterial overgrowth. Need to fix those. You can run the Candida metabolic and vitamins test for that, or you can do the CBO protocol. But make sure you're getting your 30 to 35 grams or more, but don't start with that, right? Start by just adding 5 more grams of fiber per day in your diet on a daily basis. Berries, your veggies, certain gluten-free grains could be beneficial for some people, some legumes, all of those things can be helpful. So that'll be very, very helpful to keep those bowels moving as well. And then just for some people, know your triggers. Some people get gas and bloating from certain foods. So during a certain part of your cycle, until you balance out those hormones, you may want to just stay away from foods that you know cause you bloating. Maybe it's some of the fermented foods, maybe it's cabbage, maybe it's things like that. Or you might just cook them a little bit more. Another big one is stay hydrated. Allow yourself to get enough fluid so your body doesn't need to retain any and it can just wash out what it does not need. Not overhydrating, but most people about half your body weight in ounces of fluid per day. If you weigh 160 pounds, you need about 80 ounces per day, which is about 10 glasses of water. Also, try to eliminate the big meal. That's why the 1 meal a day diet is not great for almost anybody, but part of it is just bloating. If you take in 1,500 calories in one meal, you feel pretty bloated. It takes a while to break down all of that. So keep the meals easy to digest. Again, like I said, cooked foods, if you need cooked foods, especially when you're more prone to bloating, can be really, really helpful. All right. I love the tip. I was going to move into a little bit more lifestyle, exercise, movement. Go for a 20-minute walk after you eat, as much as you can. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you can go for a 20-minute walk, either pre or post, ideally post if you can, just light, just an easy walk, can help with digestion tremendously, especially after dinner, because that bloating can start to climb throughout the day. Another big one, stress. Many women and men get bloated when they have more stress. So if we're combining hormonal imbalances with stress, it's a recipe for disaster right there. The last part is get quality sleep. If you need, do all the things that we talk about, the 3-2-1 formula for sleep. We can link up that. Good quality nutritional supplements for sleep, like whatever you need, get good quality sleep. It'll help with the stress. It'll allow you also to get a little bit more exercise the next day. Definitely get in your exercise, not just the steps, but your exercise, keep circulation moving, helps as well with detoxification of hormones, excess hormones. All right, specific nutritional supplements, there are a couple. Estrogen balance for women with higher levels of estrogen and lower levels of progesterone. Why? Contains a lot of the extracts for cruciferous vegetables that might cause you bloating right now, right? So DIM is one of those. I3C is another. So those can be really beneficial, and estrogen balance can be extremely helpful. You can take it through your whole cycle or about 3 or 4 days before you need it, and then keep taking it through the time you typically have symptoms. Magnesium, another great product. Full spectrum magnesium, 1 at lunch, 2 at dinner, can be very helpful for many women. Again, I can't give you any medical advice, but I'm just sharing with you just generalities, what we see work in the practice. A good quality probiotic. Typically, if you've never taken one before, take Clean Gut Probiotic first, and then the daily probiotic support. If you know you have gut issues, bloating, gas, etc., CBO protocol first, and then the daily probiotic support. The Clean Gut Probiotic just helps push out excess yeast because it has Saccharomyces boulardii in it. Digestive enzymes, 1, 2, or 3 with each meal. And that gives you a better digestive system. It helps you break down those foods faster and easier so they don't sit there and begin to ferment. So really, really helpful. Now, after that, So those are just basics. Again, you want to use a good quality omega-3. So I always recommend daily foundational protocol level 2 at a minimum. It's your daily activated multi or daily nutritional support. You need all of your B vitamins, all of your vitamins and minerals and detox factors, all of that, right? So that's the DNS, daily nutritional support, or the daily activated multi. You need your daily omega-3 support. You need your vitamin D3 for your hormones. So that's important, imperative, right? A balanced zinc can be helpful, but after that, or some of the specialty ones, maybe you need some progesterone support if your progesterone is low. It's a herbal-based remedy that contains Vitex, which is chasteberry, and a few others that can be really, really helpful. So that is just in a nutshell. I just wanted to give you high level of what we see be extremely effective right up front. Now, if you want a personalized protocol for you, we're happy to help with that. And so are any integrative health practitioner level 2. If you don't want to work with Ecollife, not a problem. Work with an IHP level 2. You can find the IHPs at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. And to work with us, just order the stress, mood, and metabolism test, and you actually get a lab results call plus a personalized recommendation included with that. So this is it. This is everything, I hope, that can give you the foundational support you need without being overwhelming. If there's any questions, let us know. We're always happy to help. For all of today's show notes and details, head on over to stephencabral.com/3105. Take care, everybody. Have an amazing day. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.